Welcome to Anecdotes for Success with Matt and Paul. Storytelling is an art form, emphasizing the value and learning that is created through personal experience. Our purpose is to share these stories and experiences with the listener. Everyone has a powerful testimony. Let's use them to level up to our best life with truth, meaning, trade-offs, and perspective.
All right, I think we found a common time to be consistent again. Uh, it's
Yeah,
it's when most people aren't up, but here we are.
that's definitely half the battle, isn't it? But it's like, the same thing. It's what's important to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm not tired. We just get up and do it, and and we have a couple guests coming on soon, and I'm like, all right, they'd be like, I'm honored to come on. Like, when can you do it? I'm like, we can do it almost any day, but it's got to be at X time. And they're like, okay. I mean, you just put it out there. Like that's what we got trouble with a few months back is, oh, we'll do it this time or that time. And the longer you go into a day, the more chances something's going to come up
Something comes up. Yeah, yeah. And that's the
every day,
truth.
right?
And that's the truth.
So you've been
Yeah.
plugging along.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, I feel like honestly, I feel like for me the last 15 months have been a lot of plugging along. I mean, there there's ebbs and flows in everything we do, and momentum's a funny thing. It's real, but how do you measure it, right? It's real. I mean, I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone that you know, that I admire in terms of certain areas that doesn't I don't think I've spoken to anyone who doesn't feel momentum. It's a funny thing, but it's it's self-generated in so many ways. And, even in, areas where let's say things are going your way, um, momentum can certainly help that. And how do you get that momentum? And I don't know any other way than just I say plug it along because that's what my father always said. Just keep plugging along, one day at a time. He didn't say one day at a time, one moment at a time. That's my interpretation, but that's how he always said it. He said, just keep plugging, just keep plugging. I can hear him in my head right now. Just that's what he would say all the time. And sometimes things are just firing on all cylinders and everything's, just perfect and wonderful. And other times you're just plugging, right? And you're just and it's just been like that for the last, 15 months or so and some of my worlds. Um and so, you know, that's that's the empowering feeling I think I have is like I can always keep plugging.
I'm going to use that because there's nothing worse than when someone asks how you're doing. When people say, same old, same old. It is what it is. But I like plugging though. I mean, it's basically saying you're being consistent with action.
That's exactly what it is. That Paul,
But
that's
but
perfect. Yeah.
if someone asks me how things are going, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm being consistent with my action and trying to gain momentum." I'm going to just start saying, "Plugging along, man." I love that.
That's what it absolutely what it means to me. I was with a guy recently and we were golfing and I just kept hearing from people. It was at a golf, like, one of those charity tournament type things, and hey, how's it going? Living the dream. And it was all same crap, different day, that kind of thing. And I just sit there and I just think to myself, I don't say anything, to these people. Most of them I don't even know. Like, is that what this is about for you? And it's sad. It's sad to hear. It's like, oh, it's like give up mode. You know what I mean? I don't, and I'm sure some people say it just as a saying, but not my experience.
No, I mean, it's just like asking somebody how the weather is. Most people say it's because it's like, I don't know you. I got to break the ice
Yeah,
somehow.
right. Right. Yep, yep.
But I've found myself saying it once or twice, and I really think I'm living the dream, but it sounds so cringe and it's taken as, oh, I'm just in this rat race, living one day for the next. And I don't like that. So I consciously, we're doing an activity with my students today where I'm going to talk about the top 5 things you shouldn't tell somebody when you first meet them. And it's
Ooh.
like living the dream, uh, you know, uh, repeat their name once they say it so you remember it. Well, that's not a top 5 thing you shouldn't do, but just common new awkward moments when you meet somebody. Nobody, very rarely does somebody, when you say one of those cliche-ish terms, think anything less or more of you. But occasionally there's people like you or me that are like, what are you even saying? That makes no sense. Like you can get by with it,
Yeah, yeah.
but
It's not
why?
the impression you want to leave with people, is it?
No, no.
It's not because people make impressions and they make first impressions are very powerful. There's a million studies out there that talk about that. So what's the impression you're leaving? And impressions are important because relationships are important, right? And
Yeah.
if you're making a bad first impression on people, which I'm sh- I'm guilty of at times. I'm sure you are. Who isn't? But I mean, that shouldn't be the intent. The intent should make a good first impression because you never know who you're talking to, and you never know what those conversations can lead to. And whether it's friendship, whether it's partnerships, who knows? But you know, having that kind of impression with people is that negative impression. Here's another one. It just popped in my head. Um, you know, how's work? Well, if it was any good, they wouldn't have to pay me. That kind of thing. And I just think like you don't have to do it. No one's making you do it. Go do something else. But again, those kinds of things lead me to believe you just kind of given up and you don't care it's a bad first impression or a bad impression at all, even if it's not the first one. And it leads me to believe with people like I I I don't really want to go further in a relationship, maybe so.
Oh, so plugging along, I can't believe we just got on and you said that term because I love it. But like my students are already tired. We're on a college campus now. My classroom is on a college campus. We all have our own student badges, faculty badges. We get all the perks, but they're high school kids. So it's like really the ultimate experience of what I feel I've been building for them. I'm in heaven myself. But on the other hand, my goal is I'm trying to talk them out of going to college next year.
Of
Not, and it's not to be successful or not to go to college, but
course.
plugging along for most means I get good grades in high school. Then I go to a college I probably can't afford. And now I might have a good job or might not, but half that income's going to pay back the college I couldn't afford. And I don't invest. It becomes a rat race of just income going to expenses, so no assets, right? And they're plugging along. Other people think, oh, nice house, nice car, nice job. But 18 years go by and they're just plugging along, living the dream. I want them to have choices, stay at the community college, go to the cheaper college. If you go, have lots of internships. Don't just plug along to your classes, meet people, invest, take a gap year, invest, go. Plugging along doesn't mean doing the same thing forever. Plugging along means taking consistent action. And that word I circled the first time you said it is have momentum. When you're a high school, when you graduate high school, you literally have all the momentum in the world because you have the chains of the school off you because by law you're mandated to go. And that's what I mean, right? You now have the choice to
Hmm.
shape your future, but we plug along to what society says the next step is. And thank God for a lot of people, there's doctors and lawyers. I don't mean don't do it.
Of course,
but
yes.
but have a plan and keep that momentum. That's all. Sorry for the rant.
No, it's good. It got me thinking too. And maybe it's because of just my life and where I live and spend my time versus where I did previous years. I feel like that conversation on the going to college thing, I felt like there was a lot of momentum on questioning the value in the investment for a lot of people. And I feel like that, and I'm interested in your opinion. I feel like that conversation, at least in my world, has stalled. And now I'm not hearing about it as much. And again, to your point, I'm not against going to college at all. I mean, but I'm not against doing most anything at all, as long as it doesn't hurt other people, as long as it's part of a plan, as it brings value in your investment. You don't just do it because everyone else does it. You don't just do it because that's how you were raised or whatever. And there's tremendous value in a college education. There's also, in many cases, but not all. There's also tremendous cost in most cases. So please
Yeah.
tell me your
Well,
thoughts.
it's funny. I think you were the same way. My parents didn't go to college, so I was going to go to college. Now, played golf and I was able to get money to go to college for golf. I was able to get money for grades and to keep those up. So most of my college was paid for. But like an idiot, because I wasn't ready, competitively I was, intellectually I was, but emotionally, I just played golf every day. I didn't do one internship. I didn't take the time to really meet any professor. I built no relationships except for with my teammates, which are super valuable and have had, there's been successes and gains with those too. But if you're going to go to college, oh, and then I get a degree in business administration. What am I going to administer with no experience, right? So, what am I looking for when my golf career is over? Some entry level job that I could have done without a 4 year degree. Now, help me get my master's and go into education. But that plan set me back a few years. Fortunately, I didn't have the debt because of my golf situation. If you're going to go to college, it's almost when I'm walking around campus at the college the kids are at now, it's like a huge think tank. There's all these young minds. Everybody's
Yeah,
there because they are motivated. Like, meet them, talk to them, go to your
yeah.
professor's office hours, your accounting teacher, and get extra help. And you might be able to build something. You literally have your food, not clothing. You bring your own clothing, food and shelter. You're paying for it, but while you're there, it feels free, like you're in this 4 year Starbucks almost, and the energy's there. Use that energy to build momentum, and most don't. If you're not, there's no reason to go. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the relationship thing, Paul, my gosh, I was so guilty of that as well. I mean, I didn't, same thing. I went undergrad and I didn't, to this day I have one relationship. It was one of my off-campus roommates from college, and I did take on all the debt, and I didn't have any scholarships, and you know what I mean? Like I've all my degrees, Paul, I took out loans for, and we could debate all day long whether it was worth it, not worth it.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
What
it's your story,
yeah,
and you're here
exactly.
from it.
What
Yeah.
path would it have led me down? I mean, I could strongly take both sides of it and argue either. The fact is, we'll never know, and it's not worth the energy it takes for me to really think about it. It's just my story is like you said. But so many times, and I'll hear this. I've heard this from several friends of mine who have kids who are going into college now, right? They're seniors in high school, juniors in high school, or they're in college now. And I'm talking a handful or more. And we'll get in this discussion about the value of college. And I see them pushing just pushing their kids into college. Like all of them. Doesn't matter which kid, doesn't matter what they want to do. Like you're going to college, and I've questioned it. I mean, as a friend in a friendly way. And one of the things that I've heard from every one of them is, well, you got to remember all the networking and relationships you build in college. I've said to every one of them, That's interesting. What kind of networks and relationships did you build in college? And every one of them was like, well, not for
You,
me, not really. But I'm like, me either. Like,
we admit it.
stop
We
with your
admit it.
buzzwords. Yeah,
We
right.
admit
Stop
it.
with your buzzwords. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying their kids won't and shouldn't go. I don't know their kids well enough to,
Yep.
to know whether they should or shouldn't. It's not my decision. And I hope whatever they do, they're wildly successful and have a meaning and purpose in their life that drives them forward and they do great things. It's what I wish for them, from the bottom of my heart. But don't we're we're just we're just blindly pushing people in a direction. And we do that in so many things in life. Like I don't want to think, I don't want to talk, I don't want to debate. I just want to do what I was told to do. I don't want to think about my retirement. I just want Social Security or pull out money out of my paycheck. Tell me when I can retire, at what age, how many years, how much am I, tell me how much is there. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
Well, here's what I'm talking about. I mean, great points. I played golf the other day with a recent high school graduate. Oftentimes, kids will reach out to me and want to play golf and work on their game. But
Cool.
this person staying local at a community college feels a little lost right now because every one of his friends is gone at the other school. So I'm like, yeah, I'll play with you, and it was fun. Let's do it again if we can schedule it. I mean, the days are getting shorter and colder now.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm like, I'm telling you right now, you are not losing out on a thing. He's paying cash for his semester, and you graduate in high school now with usually 30 something credits from this said community college. You and so we'll back up a little bit because I've got this from you, and it's one of the cornerstones to everything I teach now. The whole point about life is having freedom to make choices, right? Of course, there's times you have to sacrifice and you're stuck doing something and you have commitments. And money probably is the biggest tool, assets in general, but money is the biggest tool to give you that freedom to make choices. And if you leave college with all this debt, and then you'll probably be at the lowest earning point of your life, you don't have any freedom to make choices. You don't have the tools. You might 20 years later, you might 10 years later, but why not keep the momentum right out of high school? So that's my point with kids. I don't care where you go or what you do or what your best life's going to be, but your best life's going to be when you have the most freedom to make choices.
Yes. And you're in that debt jail that I just
Yeah,
warn people to
you can't
stay
default.
stay away from it. Stay away from it. Paul, and another thing on top of that is you're also at your youngest age to take money and invest it, right? I mean, you're getting older every day. So
Yeah.
you're at the age, whatever age you're at today is the best time to keep pumping money into investments because time is the biggest asset in investing.
Yeah. Well, the beginning of the school year is always my favorite. Like again, blessed I get to come back to something fun. I've been starting investing. All the kids read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. That's the fundamental. We skim through it with guided questions. I don't make them read the whole thing. But
Gotcha.
and then I tell them all, I go, what are you thinking right now as I'm doing this? I keep telling you, you could have enough money when you're 40 years old if you follow my plan, or 45, to pivot and change jobs, take a year off of work, do whatever. And they're like, well, how come you don't? You said you're 53. And I said, good question, because I started when I was 25, not when I was 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like what I'm doing. But
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the lessons there.
but I'm very open about that too. Those 7 years I waited, I would literally have double everything I have now.
I
My wife
know.
double.
Double.
And
Exactly.
they get all excited, and I tell them, I'm getting to the point where about half the kids end up open brokerage accounts, and half say they're going to wait, and they never can't make them.
No.
But you talk about momentum, where I'm literally telling you how to do it. Like it's not a secret.
Paul, it's not a secret. None of these things are secrets. That's what's so frustrating about it. It's like I got two stories, I think, maybe I can tell. The first one is my older daughter's pregnant, as you know, and
Yeah.
she and her husband are having a baby in about 6 weeks. Um, and it's coming fast now, and we're super excited and all that stuff. But there's baby showers and there's et cetera, et cetera, and gift giving, right? And that's just a normal part of this for most people, certainly is for us. And I talked to my wife, and I'm like, we are taking the maximum amount allowed by law and putting it into a 529. Actually, I've talked to my investment person, and there's a couple other options there. The point is, we're not getting toys, and we're not getting rattles although I did buy diapers because I went to a diaper party, I had to do it. But and believe me, my daughter, if she's listening to this, because she does listen, and her husband, there'll be no surprise when that baby is born and I have the social security number to give to the investment person what they're getting from dad and Cassie, because that's how we think, it's how we act, it's
Yeah.
what we choose. And that child will have X amount of money and likely a regular investment from dad and grandpa and grandma, going forward for a significant portion of her life, that I can pretty much guarantee, starting out at the age of 1 week old, by the time she is in her 30s, certainly in her retirement age, she will be a multimillionaire. Not in future money, but in today's money, which is what I want.
Right.
And that's not the only thing. There's other investment tools, and I think those 529s are going to change
I
dramatically
was
as.
gonna say I'd go with the other options, but
But well, yeah, that's why that's kind of why it was on my mind, because there are other options. But
right.
but I see that changing dramatically as AI and jobs change, and people are going to be forced. The government's going to be forced to loosen that up, in my opinion. But that's a whole different conversation. But the point is, I could make sure she has because a little girl, a Barbie car and a what you name it, whatever junk is out there. The junk I have filled in my house over here that I've been, gifted, which I don't apologize for calling it junk, because it is junk. And I
Right.
tell everyone who gives it it's junk. Um, in those types of things. But I want it doesn't mean my daughter doesn't love it, because she does love stuff. She's still a kid, but um, I want my granddaughter set up for life with tools I can provide. And I don't feel any need to show up at birthday parties or Christmas with the biggest box or the shiniest gadget or whatever. I will have given my granddaughter access to a future that most people will never have. And that's what's important to me.
I, it's incredible. Why didn't we all do that to our kids when they were
But
born?
Paul, I don't know. Now you hit a
Well,
nerve.
didn't know.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's true. We didn't know. I I told someone recently who works for me, she was having a baby, and I said, look, if I were you, she was asking for advice. I don't just unsolicited do these kinds of things. And I said, if I were you, I would tell I don't know how much family or friends you have. She was telling me she had a shower coming up. I said, I would tell every one of them, I don't want anything other than I'm going to open it up an account, and I want the money to go. I pulled out all it takes is a phone with a investment calculator, and you can quickly show. I was like, if you got $3,000 from this, which I think she had like 30 or 40 or 50 people coming to her shower. If you got $3,000, then and you put that, here's what this would mean for your kid at 18, at 30, at 60. And it blew her mind. She couldn't believe it. And I'm going, forget the stuff. And look, I get it. You need you need diaper bags and you need, you need a stroller and you need some of these things. But what brand do you need? And what, I mean, I'm just now, did she do it? My guess is no,
No.
but those are the choices we have, Paul, and we can make them.
Think if that was started and then it was just $10 a week that she kept the momentum of the account going.
And
I tell the kids they have graduation parties in June and they're going to make a good 3 grand. And you talk about the start of something
yeah,
right there. Uh, I show them the 4% rule. If you had $1 million when you were 40 or 50, the whole of today's dollars, the whole point's not to stop working. We've had our past episodes. It's about just exploring new interests, right? On your own terms. You take 4% of that out. When you're 50, you start taking 4% a year out of that $1 million. Now it's going to fluctuate. If the market goes down for a year, 4% is going to be less than 40,000.
yep.
But when you're 80, that 1 million will have gone to over 6 million, even though you were taking 4% out. Like it's impossible to run out of money. Then the kid, well, how do the pro athletes run out of money? Well, because they stop making it and they don't invest it,
They spend
right?
it. They spend
Yeah.
it. You see the car? You see the car that's worth half what it is the minute they drive it off the lot. You see
Or a
that
lottery winner. I don't mean to pick on pro athletes. A lot of them
it,
probably are well set and get great advice from people, but you hear the stories.
not enough. Statistically, it's like 3 out of 5. I don't know if that's changed at all. I know that the leagues have made an attempt to educate and do a better job with that, and good for them because these people who have this talk about talk about lottery, this access that none of us would ever have. To have 3 out of 5 bankrupt 5 years after they're out of the league or whatever is a travesty. It's an and it's not because they're dumb. It's because they're not educated in that area, right? I mean, it's like me. Go put me in a factory and tell me to fix a compressor of the
Right.
machines. Like you're going to see a real disaster, right? I'm not educated in it. I'm not claiming, and neither are you, to be smarter than anyone. I'm saying there are ways to get educated in these things, and if you're going to get educated in something, this would be where I'd start.
Well, it's funny. I hear the stories of once somebody becomes a pro athlete, they pay off their parents' house, they buy a
Mhm.
nice car. I
Yeah,
love that. I've been thinking way too much about this lately. They're better off getting a mortgage and a car payment and just paying that monthly payment and then investing all the rest. Like rule number one is you don't use cash to buy stuff, right?
exactly. Because
But
if
they
you're
don't know. Nobody
Yeah,
knows.
right. If your interest rate on your mortgage is 5%, but you're getting 10% in the market and you're just paying off the mortgage of day one, you're losing that cash instead of having the additional 5%, that money working for you, right? So yes, there's just simple things like that. Like there's a million people can help you, but the reason they're broke, the reason so many go broke is because they spend. It's no different, Paul. It's spending and consuming is what's going to ruin
So as we're ending, you've inspired me. I almost want to change the name of this podcast to Plugging Along. Uh,
it.
and to the listeners, we got on today, and the deal was we're going to just hit record and go. Like we sometimes we feel like that's our conversations before we hit record a lot. We
Yeah.
have we're getting back into the consistency and building the momentum again, and we have some guests coming on in the next couple of weeks. Uh, but plugging along, I just I'm gonna
Yeah.
make t-shirts or something.
Yeah. It's always that voice in my head from my father. Just keep plugging, Matt. Keep plug. It was like in sports. If things were no matter what, it was always the same message. Things could be going great, and he wanted you to know that they were going great because you had been plugging along.
Right.
you had been getting up early and working out and putting in the extra time and putting in the extra effort. It wasn't, oh, okay, things aren't going the way you want. Now it's time to plug along. No, it's always time to plug along. It's the victories and the success is in the day to day plugging along. There are no, it's not moments of success. The moments of success, frankly, are overrated. It's the day to day plug, 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 do, and and just be better by plugging along. And if everyone just did that, boy, you would turn around in 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, whatever, and you'd look behind you and go, that's where I was. Wow, I've come a long way.
I'll end with a little personal anecdote. I mean, our newest business is over a year old now. Okay.
Yeah, congratulations.
And well, thank you. And, summer wasn't what we thought it'd be, but we had never owned this business in the summer. And with the lakes and travel and tourism, it was okay. But when I start looking at stuff and being like, man, we got to do this, look at this could be better. Then I think what we've done, we moved the building into a property company. We built a new parking lot and consolidated that. We were just plugging along and we didn't have the outcomes per se we want, but the plugging along has still set us up in a better place than we would have been.
No
And
question.
at the end of the day, that's when you say when you've told me you were plugging along, that means overall you're trying to do something positive every day to offset all the things you can't control.
That's well said. Yeah. Yep.
Hey, this was fun. I'll see you next week for sure.
Sounds good.
All right, bye, Matt.
Bye.